Put your hands together and say ah-woo for the spirit of the Wolfman himself, Andrew Waltman.
Howdy, everyone. It'll make sense in a minute. Today, we're celebrating the best film from 1977 that wasn't set in a galaxy far, far away. I'm talking about Smokey and the Bandit. In this film, Burt Reynolds plays the Bandit, a charming southern trucker who gets behind the wheel of the coolest car known to the history of man, the 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Special Edition. Holy is that a work of art. He takes a bet from Big and Little Enos Burdett, played by Pat McCormick and Paul Williams, to drive from Atlanta, Georgia to Texarkana, Texas, and back in 28 hours to transport a shipment of 400 cases of Coors beer, which at the time is considered bootlegging. We'll circle back to that. So he drives the Trans Am as a blocker car to distract the cops, while his best friend the Snowman, played by country singer Jerry Reed, drives the rig hauling the booze. What follows is 2 hours of adventures as Bandit picks up a runaway bride, Sally Field, on the side of the road fleeing her wedding from the son of Buford T. Justice, played by absolute comedy legend Jackie Gleason. I cannot emphasize how funny this movie is. It definitely got overshadowed by Star Wars, but it was still enough of a hit to make 2 more sequels that we don't talk about. This movie's hilarious. It has one of the coolest looking cars, some of the best stunts, especially for the 1970s. I love this movie so damn much. There's a few questions here. You may ask why Coors beer had to be smuggled. Well, Coors beer wasn't pasteurized and contained no preservatives, so it wasn't licensed to distribute east of the Mississippi River. President Gerald Ford was known to keep a stash of the beer. But let's be honest, bootlegging is the worst thing that Gerald Ford did as president. So your next question, and this is a pretty fair one. Aren't there better beers to bootleg than Coors? And the answer is a thoroughly resounding yes. So that brings us to our first beer segment in our ongoing series. I call it Bandit's Beers to Bootleg. Let's get an intro for that. RJ?
Burt Reynolds said on his deathbed that he would have liked to review more beers. Here to fulfill that quest is Bandit's Beers to Bootleg.
Each time we do this series, we'll be sampling beers local, national, global, wherever you find your beer. We'll be telling you whether or not they're worth bootlegging. And of course, I'll be wearing this nifty cowboy hat and red shirt. And if I can get it to stay on next time, a mustache. So let's start with the beer that started this whole conversation. Coors Banquet. Staple of American beer drinking, crisp, refreshing, classic beer taste. Something that I'll enjoy while I'm watching Smokey and the Bandit. It's very plain. There's nothing really to it. It's a regular beer. It's very supermarkety. I enjoy it. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but it's not something I'm getting in a car chase over. So, no, I will not bootleg this beer. What? No, Coors Light is just a glass of water. No. Next we have Rodeberger Pilsner, a German beer with a nice kick. I'm very much an IPA guy by nature, but if I'm going to a bar and I see that they have Rodeberger on tap, this is my go-to. It's very crisp. It's got a lot of flavor to it too. You know how most Pilsners taste? They have that kind of... I'm not a beer expert, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, it very much tastes like a thorough German beer. And that's what you want to have from something like this. It's just more flavorful than most beers that aren't an IPA, mind you. So, you can bet that I'm going to go bootleg this, if I needed to. Here's one I actually have kind of bootlegged in a sense. This is from Keegan Ale's Brewery in Kingston, New York, my hometown. This is Vine Climber Sessions IPA. Fruity flavor, not a harsh kick, lighter than your average IPA. Very smooth, your average session beer. Now, I say I smuggle this because Keegan Ale's does have distribution. You can find them in certain shops around the state. But this you can really only find in their brewery in Kingston, New York. So every time I go back to my hometown, I buy at least 2 or 3 6-packs of these and bring them down, stock them in my fridge. So I don't want to call it necessarily bootlegging, but I've made a Bandit run. And I have in fact played some Jerry Reed music while driving home with it. And our last beer today is the craft IPA of Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Texas rattlesnake himself. Known for his rebellious beer bashes, he created the Broken Skull IPA. we all know how he liked to enjoy his beer. So in that spirit, what? Okay, I have a lot of electronic equipment around here, and this stuff isn't cheap. I'm not going to spray it everywhere. This, too, is a smoother IPA. Not quite as session, so it's you got a little more of a kick to it. It's heavier than a Bind Climber. But you definitely get that flavor and more than the alcohol, so it's a decent IPA. Great for watching sports or Monday Night Raw. It's not widely available, but it's in some stores. You definitely have to go out of your way to look for it, but I definitely say that it's worth the effort. So, that's the bottom line. There is one more thing I want to talk about, and this isn't a beer, but it is something that you need to bootleg. Pib. Formerly known as Mr. Pibb, now known as Pibb Extra. Best soda in the world. I will die on that hill. And please don't get in my face with it's just Dr. Pepper. It is not. It has a distinctly different taste. You can find this in like a movie theater concession stand with the fountain, or you can find it at Chipotle, some of them have them, but I don't want to go into a goddamn movie theater to buy this beer. You can really only find it in cans and bottles in the Southwest or just anywhere except New York State for some reason. If I had the time and the money, I would make a run. I would stock up my whole car with this, and I would bring it back to New York. I don't know why it's not available here. Maybe that's just a choice. The alternative is ordering it off of a website with an insane amount of markup, but that's just crazy. So that's it for Bandit's Beers to Bootleg. Join us next time. And please, let me know if there's any beers that get you behind the wheel of a Trans Am. Remember, happy birthday, Nick Charlick.